the world around it.
Somebody said Superman spaceship crashed in Antarctica.
It depends on which one of the parts of it you're watching, because some of them have it in the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's still in the icy climate. It's a crystal castle. If you pay attention to it, it's a crystal castle. Right? It's in the cold climate. That's the castle of the princess of the North, the Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
The Dame of the North. Who is the Dame of the North? She's the princess where the ice is. She's the ice princess. When she get ready to be crowned queen, she becomes Isis, the embodiment of full divine feminine.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the mapping ancient history in order to restore back Earth to the original people. It's the perpetual process of redemption. And that's why they always talking about crucified saviors, because we was under a blood oath contract that relied on crucified blood to make us comply, because we didn't comply without that. Because the blood of the righteous shall not be spilled in vain. Both the good and the bad said that.
Right. Since we talking about melanin, the different colors we were throughout the history of humanity in this realm. You mentioned blue, you mentioned green. We know movies are oftentimes not entertainment, and the secret societies and even CIA controls Hollywood, and they put a lot of history within the movies disguised as entertainment. What is the deal when you see characters, Rod, like blue characters, like you mentioned Avatar? When you see Sonic the Hedgehog, they done made 3 damn movies about Sonic, cartoons and video games. When you see things like the Smurfs, what do you think when you see these blue entities on camera?
You don't know where the Smurfs come from, huh?
I've heard it. I done forgot. I done heard so much shit. I heard it. People say it. Yeah.
In the Appalachian Mountains, when Scott and Scotia escaped the assassins from Europe, Vikings brought them over here. Where Scotia went, they named it later on Nova Scotia. Where Scott went, we call Appalachia. When you go in the Appalachian Mountains, they was being sunburned real bad. Big Mama told them,
some kind of Kim Jong-un type dude. Go ahead.
You can't. It's not possible. There's too many systems and checks and balances in place. He can't never, even if he try to go rogue, there's something there to stop him. Anything that he's doing right now, Department of Defense, Military High Command, the White Hats, whatever the F we want to call them, have already advised him this is within your power to do this. Right? You got to remember, it's a whole bunch of senators and congressmen that's from Central Casting that ain't really in DC. Right? They use a skin mask, deep fake, AI, green screen, skin mask, the whole name, in order to hold this illusion in front of y'all up. But the illusion is falling down on its own because people are starting to see exactly the blatant contradictions of the old regimes, the inner workings of how they attack the domestic side of us, right? I told you, the babies got it now. The babies know about Move. The babies know about Mumia Abu Jamal and the police busted him upside his head and shot his partners. The babies know about it now. The babies know about Black Wall Street. They know about Rosewood. And they know that ain't no African American or niggas. Them was the natives of the land that they was trying to move so that they can seize the land. We know about St. Bernard Parish, the shelf of New Orleans that was sunk. Right? We know about all of this. We know how they switched us out in the Dawes Road now. It ain't no secret no more. We know that they want us to surrender who we is so we can't never reclaim our birthright to the land. They keep forgetting that we don't own the land owns us. We just the caretakers. So the land gonna tell us that we need to start taking care of the land because it's going to blight. And it shows in all of the aspects of the human society. All of the societies is breaking down at the same time, no matter what form they are. Think about that. Why are they all breaking down at the same time and they're not all the same types of government? They're not all under a single dictator, or are they? Right? You see it going on after kicking France out, sick of their shenanigans. Multiple countries, French-speaking countries, is aligning with Ibrahim Traore to oust the colonist control over their domestic affairs. They know how to handle their people because they people. This is why they want us to get up and go to Africa, because then if we all go to Africa talking about we going home, we don't got no land over there. We don't got access. We don't got no motherland coming out of Africa. Our motherland coming out of Mesoamerican, the Fertile Crescent of the Gulf of America, formerly the Gulf of Mexico. That's where our genetic stock come from the Amazon in South America all the way around to the Mississippi in North America. Mitochondrially tied to this land. And it's just nature. It's not anything that they can tell us, the ones who know what's going on. What we know is confusing to a lot of people, but what we know is in our blood. It ain't on no paper. Our DNA tell us we belong here. We've been saying it, but we've been whispering it on the low. You know, we got Indian in us. Grandma said we have Indian. Big Papa say we ain't no African, we Indian. We was always here. What are you talking about, Mama? I don't know what your granddaddy talking about. What they tell you at school? Okay, then. Come right here with your granddaddy talking about with his old ass sitting up there rocking in that chair, spitting that tobacco off the porch. We don't care about what he's saying. Right? What they tell you in school, what your history books say. Who is we in the history books? They say we slaves, we come from Africa on ships. Okay, then. Well, Papa said we was already here. I don't hear what your Papa talking about. He ain't been to school. He ain't got a third grade education. That's probably a good thing. Because the education system is the programming network for them to steal your baby's minds to work for their interests.
Hey, Rod, somebody said, what does, shout out Oakland, man. Shout out that boy, NPC game, man, in Oakland. What does the Wood Snake Lunar New Year resonate with? The Wood Snake Lunar New Year's resonate with?
That's coming from the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake, and the element that is under is wood, but you also have a wood snake in nature. If you look up wood snake, it tell you the characteristics of the snake, which will tell you the nature of the frequency of the year of the wood snake. It don't tell you what's gonna happen. It just tell you that the energy will be moving along these lines as a wood snake. Right? So I didn't do the investigation on it because I'm looking for the Mardi Gras. I'm waiting on that. I haven't even did no new research about.
Yeah, watch the talk. Somebody said, could you go in on the gold being heist from 9/11 deal?
Yeah, that was discovered when one of the van's tires melted trying to escape, and it got trapped down there. And then they realized that it was multiple vans full of gold, and they also got footage of them on some kind of camera that they had in there loading the gold up. That's how we know about it. It's probably going to come out with the release of the 9/11 files. That should be coming up soon.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Yeah, that's another thing, man. Donald, like he released in the stuff about which we already know about the Kennedy, the driver shot him. We already Bill Cooper had already told everybody, William Cooper. But all this stuff that's being released, Martin Luther King, we knew that about that. So a lot of the stuff that's coming out, we already knew, but Trump, it's all coming out. That's why I like the year of truth, 2025, man.
Remember, the Supreme Court of the United States had ordered the case file sealed for Martin Luther King, JFK, RFK into the year 2025.
Yeah.
Right? It's the year 2025, so they already knew. That's also in Behold a Pale Horse. You talk about it in there, and it's another book called War at Home.
Mm-hmm.
I think he talk about it in there too. He got a thicker version of it that go into more stuff, but it's not called War at Home, but it's the same author and it's the same material, just expanded. But in there, he talk about the sealing of the files. Tupac files were sealed to 2025, but they released them early. They released Tupac files, Biggie files, Michael Jackson's, Prince, all of them celebrities' files have been released,
So
and all of them being extorted by the JDL.
So do the Tupac file, do it say that they still don't know his whereabouts? They can't confirm his death?
Who?
Tupac.
Wait a minute, say it again. I didn't understand the question. I didn't hear the question.
The files they leaked, did it go into that he faked his death?
No. It's they go for the Las Vegas narrative in the file and they stop reporting on it at 2025. But one of the Las Vegas homicide detectives did a newspaper report. And he said, and there's more evidence Tupac is alive than dead. So I don't know what they're doing with Keefe D.
Damn. I believe that too, man. It's too much shit. Then how the hell he gonna shoot a video about him escaping to Mexico and then on the
Mexico, it was Arizona.
Okay, Arizona. Yeah, well, yeah, to the Nation of Islam camp.
Wasn't the Nation of Islam camp, it was a reservation.
Like for the Nation of Islam?
No. The native
women. It was Muslim women in the video.
Right, but them just the people that was in the video. It was okay. So they built up. It's some of the poorest tribes on the land was in Arizona.
Okay. Yep.
And Tupac wanted to give some economic stimulus to those impoverished tribes down there.
Wow.
And one of them adopted him as their high chief. And they all swore allegiance, and they got a whole bunch of Cali. It'd be a bad idea to run up on him. I can tell you that. No matter who you is, it's a bad idea. If he ain't coming and invite you to come see him, like he did DMX. That's what DMX got arrested in Arizona for. They wanted him to tell him more about this, what Tupac was doing. He want to know what he up to. They know he ain't gone. Damn. But they want to know what he up to. And DMX played crackhead. Oh no, I just sitting there looking for something. Put something in the air, smoking or something. I don't know what you're talking about.
Man,
right. Remember Dog Man got caught playing the police?
Yeah.
Remember what he said he told him?
You said Dog Man, the dog DMX.
Yeah. You remember what he said he told the police?
Nah, I don't remember.
He said he told the police, y'all playing the role. I might as well get in on some of this too.
Yeah.
And that's why they arrested him.
That's crazy.
He told them they was playing a role.
Hey, what you say don't make sense. It sound about right because they kind of show like they kind of allude to the fact that the Nation of Islam might have helped him, like helped some kind of way, helped him get to that part too. You think so?
Well, based on Quincy Jones said that it was the Nation of Islam that did the shooting in Vegas.
Damn. Yeah, the same with Biggie. They said the same about Biggie. A dude dressed like the Nation of Islam was the one that he like a dude that did the shoot.
It's basic math 101. Why was Rizza Islam present when Nipsey got shot?
Damn, cuz this is getting.
Why was Nipsey Mama sitting in the same parking lot when Nipsey gets shot in the car? What was she looking for? She the one said it out of her mouth. She said, I was there. I was sitting right there in the car. So she knows something. What she know? Right?
Good question.
So it's a whole lot of other stuff going on. We know who put the hit on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can, according to the rules of war. Remember Tupac said, I did everything righteous by the rules of war. You remember him saying that?
Right.
Okay, now, according to the rules of war, if a general or a high-ranked military official on the battlefield is at a high chance of being assassinated, then it's the supreme commander's job, the one that's the overseer of all of the leaders, to pull him off the battlefield so that his valuable strategic knowledge can be used, but they can't assess for him on the battlefield. Right? That's straight out of Machiavelli, straight out of Sun Tzu, straight out of Mao Zedong. Right? So when you take somebody out of the game, that means you confirm that he's the target. It's like when you playing chess and somebody pushing too hard on you, and then you have to make a castle move.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
Yeah. Somebody said, why are Africans trying to claim us now, trying to say we are from Africa?
Listen, all Africans don't think we from Africa. Most of them know we not from Africa, but everybody that look like us ain't us. Some of the people that's trying to lure us over there is doing that because they work for somebody who want to lay claim to this land.
The black hand, white glove. You said it. I've been noticed they doing that though. They the one promoted the go back to Africa thing. They the one set up the Pan African movement. These guys, I mean, not the Pan African movement. Well, I mean to say the JDL.
Listen, that's where your Niagara movement came from. All those was being put together at the same time. The Niagara movement became the NAACP.
Yeah.
Their job was to get the angry niggas and calm them down. That's it. Nothing else.
Damn.
Because if you pay attention, all they ever did is calm the angry niggas down when they got mad. They never did nothing else.
Yeah. Jesse Jackson's and Al Sharp, the niggas.
Anyway, so these organizations is being put up as institutions because it's easier to fight an individual with an institution than it is to fight him alone.
Right.
And so they wage war against us individually, and because we don't know it, we end up getting slapped by the invisible man. We're gonna fight the nigga closest to us. We get slapped upside the head by the unseen hand. As soon as we turn around, we see somebody that's from the neighboring tribe, and we think he's the bad guy.
Right. Right.
He ain't the unseen hand. He got slapped by him too. That's why he over here looking at you.
Somebody said, will the United States go to war with the Mexican cartel?
That's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. It says, let's see, Nipsey Hussle. Is Nipsey Hussle still alive?
He's in Eritrea. He went back to his people's land to lay low until the storm was over.
What else y'all got, man? It says, how many original tribes are in America currently?
It's thousands of us over here. Tribes is families, extended family structures. And they broke up the families in order to break up our understanding of how to operate from the farm to the city. They wanted to make a disconnect. Every family had a family farm that they turned into a plantation. They turned Big Mama house into the big house. Sweethearts swindled their way in to sell the land because we didn't believe in selling land. It's all in front of us, but we seeing it from where somebody else is telling us to look. But look where they told you not to look, you're gonna find more of the right answers than to look where they told you to look. Because when you look where they tell you to look, that's the same as the herding dog herding the sheep in the direction he want them to go.
What else y'all got, man? So Raw, and then how long you think paper money got till it goes out? Paper money, because it seemed like to me, how long you think?
We're gonna have some kind of currency that's not a card. That's gonna be the first one. Gonna be an interim currency, right? Once we first start back, because we got to redesign the currency. So whatever they come out with, we don't know if we're going to keep it or redesign it yet. All of the states, just about like 40-something states, have already voted to go back to the gold standard. So we got an overwhelming majority that want to go back to the gold standard. Canada has the same CASHAPP number as America. That means seizing the corporation seized the Canadian corporation as well. When the Canadian corporation was seized, that left Queen Diallo as the commander-in-chief, right? And it took that French puppet, what's his name? I don't remember his name. But it took him, and he became part of the Canadian version of the deep state, right? And then they got a whole bunch of tribal efforts going on across that northern lands they call Canada, that's also pushing for all of the tribes to restore tribal jurisdictional supremacy across the land. By disqualifying the judges, by putting them on notice, the judges and the lawyers, what does that do for all of the cases that judges and lawyers been adjudicating? If we find out they criminals, we find out they foreign agents. Think about that, let that sink in. They don't belong here. And they sending people to prison, but they don't belong here. How do they do that when they don't belong here? Who told us to agree to that? When did we agree to that? Because in the Constitution that we apparently they say we agreed to it, but I don't see Chief Little River name on the Constitution. I don't see Chief Standing Bear. I don't see Chief Yellow Hawk or none of that on the Constitution. So who is these people and what do they have to do with us? And why should we care? If we don't see no tribal leadership's name on this paper and all of the names is European, I mean, it's a European operation. It's not a tribal operation from us. Most of us was written in a law as outlaw tribes, belligerent tribes, non-treaty dependent nations. When they say non-treaty, that means that we the ones they at war with. But we became so comfortable and conditioned in the system because we've learned how to function reasonably well in this system that we forget that it was better before they came than it is today. So the people got to see the absurdity in order to witness the fall of this shenanigans charade.
Somebody said, you think Donald Trump gonna make Canada the 51st state after he offered that
all of the lines of demarcation gonna change.
Say that again, Rod.
All of the lines of demarcation is gonna change. None of the names of none of the states is gonna be the same. The outline, the land, the territory that they map out as that state is not going to be the same state line as it was before. We might go back to territories, right? I'm not sure what the layout gonna be because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. But I do know that we have to change the names of all the capitals.
Yep.
We have to change all the lines of demarcation, and we have to change the name of as many cities as possible in our process of reclaiming everything. We can't leave it like they left it.
Hey, if you want to find out what tribe you from, for like 10 different people ask that question.
And they're not treating them the way they need to be treated. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is like, yo, we are different. We have to get treated differently because we are different. We have to, whatever. So, Rod, I want to go historical. I'm not necessarily, because like I said, I don't want to.
Right, I'm with you.
Flag the channel or something like that, but it's just constantly since the time I was born, you always hear about race, black, white. You see Rodney King, you see this. It's when you white, sometimes you could ignore it because you ain't got to go through shit in terms of race-related issues. But when you black, that shit is in your face all the time. You could ignore it and act like you're oblivious to it, or you could accept it and decide whether or not you're gonna triumph over it. Some people don't fall victim to it. Other people, such as myself, says I'm greater than that. I'm literally God incarnate in human form. So not even racism, white supremacy, nothing could stop this train from rolling. So there's different ways of going about it. But Rod, to go way back, I was talking to what's the brother's name? Q Reeves, and he was talking about the root races. I'm trying to figure out when did all this shit start? How did we even get from spirit to dragon form? Niggas said we was dragons. Then they said we was this. Then we was that. We was green and we was this. That all of a sudden we became brown. Let's talk about the root races a little bit. And I know you told me Madame Blavatsky talked about that. What can you tell me about the root races on planet Earth, Rodriguez?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a good example. You know, you got the sign Bushman, right?
Yeah.
And you got the pygmy. These are two of the oldest root races on the planet. They both little people. They both melanated, but they not the same people. Right? And the Khoisan is a couple thousand years older, I think, than the pygmy or the Twa.
Right.
Right? So we talking first and second root race. When we talking root race, this is how they got us separated in the Darwinian evolutionary theory. Homo sapien, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo Cro-Magnon man. All of these different subgroups are different what they call races. Now I got a sidetrack on the race philosophy because the race is the way the war is being fought. The turn everybody against the ones who is the birthright heirs was the intent. The skin color paradigm was used, but the caste system was applied through skin color. When you remember that they wouldn't have let us into any institutions, Dr. Neely Fuller told us 9 areas of people activity, add health, you got 10, right? They used that race dynamic and superiority and inferiority complexes to control people. Most of us don't know that all of those mulattoes from the South married pale faces in the North when they escaped after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation. Right? That's what the whole purpose of that movie, Imitation of Life, is, to show you that a lot of us, we went off path and became big celebrities in Hollywood and on Broadway and some of the plays that traveled the world. Right? They was passing.
Give me an example. Somebody was passing. Give me an example.
Elvis Presley, John Wayne, Marilyn Monroe, J. Edgar Hoover. I can sit there and do this until I'm blue in the face. And some of the people, they be like, he wasn't passing. They was passing. Elvis' mama was an octoroon.
They could keep Elvis, man. They could keep Elvis.
Hey, look, I don't care what they do with him.
But his mom was an octoroon.
Yeah. But we got because we have to remember that this is God's crucible. What do you do in a crucible, Brother Rich?
What?
A crucible. What is it for? Another name for a crucible is the great melding pot. What do you do in a melding pot?
You mix.
Yeah, you mix metals. In this case, platinum group metals in the human family. The different root races is applied as a different platinum group metal. Right? When our skin color was primarily shades of green and blue, magnesium was the controlling element of the biology. Now that iron is, instead of tarnishing green or shades of blue, we rust brown or shades of brown. Or as my man like to say, shades of wheat.
Right.
We are just shades of wheat. But the oldest genetics has been exposed to the most challenges to the genetics, to the immune system. The longer your genetics been here, the more it has a built up collection of things it can defend against, and the more adaptable the genetic strain is. But that don't make you a better or a worse person. It just make you have a different genetic line than somebody else who probably can't fend off what you can fend off. Without going into some of the stuff. So some of the stuff required in allopathic medicine is not required in homeopathic medicine, because you speaking from a homeostatic perspective instead of a petro-medical perspective. The petro companies, a lot of the drugs use different stabilizers from fossil fuels, and a lot of the oil reserve goes to medical production, and we don't even know about it. They're extracting parts of the chemical compounds as stabilizers, as lubricants, as to create time-release capsules, all that kind of stuff they use as the petro fuel. This is what they get their patents on, and this is how they continue to charge you money for your health when they're getting patents on their fossil fuel medications.
Indeed, indeed. I want to take it way back, and I mentioned the term root race, and I mentioned Madame Blavatsky, and I always heard, I hear the majority of people on YouTube mention, because we're trying to figure like, who the hell are we, and why do they hate us so much? Why is there a global conspiracy to where it's like a color cast system, where the darker you are, the more it seems you're suppressed all over the world? Like, how the hell they got the entire globe on lockdown in terms of suppressing melanated people? So in an attempt to understand that, I wanted to go way back, and I hear about the Atlanteans, Rod. I hear about the Lemurians, but there's also the Hyperboreans, and there's also the Polarians. So let's talk a little bit about these root races, Rod. I hear you talk about the Atlanteans a lot in Thoth. I hear you talk about Lemuria. What's up with the Polarians, Rod? How far this should go? What should we know about the Polarians?
That's Polarians, Tartarians, Hyperboreans. That's all Atlantis.
It's all Atlantis.
Just different people telling the story, and they're calling it something different. Right? When you say Tartarian, that means Western orientation of Rome. Barbary or barbarian, that's Eastern orientation of Rome. Right? So when you're talking Hyperborea, you're talking about north of Rome. But you're still using the Roman frame of reference, and that's the origin of skin-based racism was developed and refined in Rome, rolled out of Notre Dame University as a false narrative.
So it started in Rome, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But the caste scroll, which tells you how to create caste systems, you got to know how to create the caste system in order to make a caste system functional without you. It's the same as they say the Willie Lynch letter. Right? If you read the Willie Lynch letter, they telling you about all of the dynamics of control you can have by using this paradigm of complexes, the inferiority complex, the superiority complex, but they call it to turn the families against each other first. So now they can't get along. So when they go in the streets, they don't know how to get along with the people in the community, right? So you creating conditions. You don't have to micromanage people if you can control the conditions that they express themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they always bring up the crabs in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
He's totally out of his nature. He's panicking.
Mm.
That's why he's pulling you back now. Not because he got a innate animosity. He's trying to get free, and he panicking. He don't know where to go because he don't supposed to be in the bucket. He's supposed to be in the vastness of the ocean. Of course, he's gonna pull you back down, right? And only intellectualizing being, probably some of the primates and a couple of the dolphins will figure out, oh, we can't attack each other. They got us in this bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But the crab never dawned on him that they can form a crab chain and pull each other out if they knew they was in the bucket. They don't know where they at. They don't know that over the top of the bucket is freedom. They just hoping. Like a nigga on the prison yard, hoping that he could be on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm. Rod, what would you I had a conversation with a priestess, I said Rod Men yesterday about the whole 666 thing, and you know, listening to the teachers like Bobby and they always said that is describing the carbon molecule. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. What is the future of the carbon molecule? They're saying that we're going from carbon based to, and I might have asked you this before, from carbon based to what's that word they use, family?
Crystalline.
It's crystalline based. Is this something, if we're going from carbon to crystalline, are we going back to the future? When were we crystalline before? If we're talking about Atlantis, Lemuria, the Polarians and all that, when was we crystalline beings? At what point in history?
That was during the Atlantis period. That's why crystalline beings and carbon-based beings don't behave the same. Carbon-based beings is more volatile chaos energy.
Oh.
Crystalline is more in line with the, because you got to remember, your DNA is made up of crystal forms of amino acids.
Right.
Crystalline amino acids. That's what make your DNA up.
Mm-hmm.
And we was externally focused, which made us skin-based.
Right.
Which was part of the racist doctrine to get you to focus on the skin.
Right.
Crystalline, you more internal based. You looking at everything from the inside out, not the outside in. And now you can see with your spiritual eye, or what they call your crystal eyes, your Ujek and Uraeus, with your higher wisdom and your controlled lower nature. Right? They always tell us about the cobra on the crown, but they never tell us about the vulture. Right? Your lower nature. The vulture is the lower nature that you conquered. And the cobra is your higher nature that you've mastered. It's two different struggles going on in the individual. And W.B. Bush wrote about it. He called it the warring soul.
Right.
Right, the part of the self that want to go along with society at large, and the part of the self that want to truly express itself from its purest source. Right, so you're talking your spiritual self versus your ego self. Your ego is the sum total of everything that you've ever been told about yourself that may or may not be true, but you accepted it as so because that defined who you was from the external world's perspective. So you're trying to live your life fitting into the perspective of everything you agreed to in your ego, and you haven't even tested it to see if it's compatible with who you are.
Very interesting. Let's go through a couple of historical terms, Rod. We're talking about melanin. We're talking about race. And once again, family, if you're just joining us, there was a Senate hearing with RFK. I advise y'all to go see what's going on. Very interesting things have been happening since Trump has been president. I cannot lie. he's really shaking things up. Some people don't like it. Some people do like it. But things are being shaken up. That's one thing we all could agree on, whether you like it or not like what's going on.
You remember I told you as soon as he take off, is everything gonna speed up?
Yeah, you did say that. Indeed. Let's go through a couple of historical terms to try to figure out who we are, where we come from, and how we got here, Rod. Let's talk, and this is a term me and you talk about on the phone. We haven't talked about on the internet, Neanderthals. Now, that was a term, a lot of brothers use that term to insult.
The pale-faced tribes tie up. I guess they mentioned, I think they're talking about the East Coast tribes, Raw, the ones that came with Andrew Jackson mixing with people, the $5 Indians, pretty much.
A destiny as it mixes the blood in the urine. It's in your face. But I have to show you that it's in your face so you won't believe me. It's right there. The whole story is right there. So the judgment that Anu, who was authorized to issue a judgment because his rank was higher, issued the judgment on Nebuchadnezzar as the story is told. That's Hiram. That's the story of Hiram. Part of it. Part of it is in Ezekiel. Some of it is in the other lesser prophets. It's all there though. The whole it's broke up. They use homonyms and synonyms. All of this stuff is relevant. They use star charts to confuse you because they know the stars not going to change. And that's one of the few things that they put in the books, no matter which one it is, that you can always check for frame of reference. They're not allowed to change anything stellar. If you see them write about a star, study that intently, because that's one of the few things that, according to the rules of this universe, they cannot change that on Earth where it cannot be referenced with the stars. Any book that they call a religious book, if it got stellar references, that's your starting point. Match the stars up first. Then match the stories up that fall under the stars. And then it'll clear itself up. You won't need nobody to do it for you. You won't need nobody. So this is why they keep telling you that it's astrotheology in the Bible, in the Quran, the Judaic religions. All they telling you is that everything man can change on Earth, he can't change the stars in the sky. So your elders, your ancestors, was wise enough to know this. So everything they did, they tied it directly to the stars so that you can read it in real time as it unfolds on Earth. And that's why I pointed out when I was telling everyone Hiram was raised. The stars point to the Orion belt. Who is Orion? The great and mighty hunter. Who was the great and mighty hunter? Nimrod. Who was Nimrod? The one they feared. Who was the one they feared? The only one they couldn't defeat, Sun Wukong. Well, what happened to Sun Wukong? Sun Wukong met the Buddha. The Buddha sent him to tame his Sakoma, his monkey man. He named him Hanuman as he became realized because he said, the Monkey King told the Buddha that no man may become God. They can all attain the level of a Hanuman. Look it up. It's no secret. It's all there. And so, if the Orion is the great hunter Nimrod, and if Nimrod is the only undefeated Sun Wukong, and the Sun Wukong went to the Buddha, the great wise one, and the great wise one told him he had to attain the wisdom of the ages before he could rule. And so he went on a journey to the west. Where would he go? Where would he go? If he's going on a journey to the west, where would he go? So at that time, the west was Africa. So he went to the Congo. So this is why they call him the king of the Congo. And they use the symbol of the gorilla, King Kong, because the gorilla is the only major mammal on the continent of Africa you will not find in the hieroglyphics. Now you got to ask yourself why. If they knew about chimpanzees and orangutans in Asia, well, not orangutans because they wrote about them over in India, but if they knew about chimpanzees in Africa, if they knew about baboons in Africa, and they knew about the elephant in Africa, and the lion, and the wildebeest, and they knew about stuff in the water that y'all ain't even seen yet in Africa, how the hell they didn't know about the gorilla? Well, spoiler. The only reason the gorilla is not in the hieroglyphics is the last totem clan to rise on Earth before the ascent would be the gorilla clan. So they were not allowed to use that symbol because the reign of Hanuman had not come. The reign of the Monkey King, crowned in the Congo, had not come. So they can't use his symbols prematurely. If they try to use his symbols, they would violate the rules and lose power instantly and ruin everybody's ascent, even though it's been evil, wicked, and painful. The whole purpose of giving her only begotten son is that no human be thrown away like trash and nobody be left behind who does not choose to be left behind. The only way you can choose to be left behind in the final ascension of this era is by choosing to do things that bring down your natural higher vibratory rate. You have to draw yourself down to becoming lesser than what you are. The more you try to become your best self, the more you can ascend and the more worthy you are to call yourself righteous. And this is why I say it's easier for a rich man to enter into an eye of a needle.
Okay, well, I'm an artist, first off. And I've been getting a lot of like downloads through my art, like what I've noticed is like my art has like a foreshadowing effect. So like it's been like a lot of downloads regarding portals or like eyes or like what's the word? What else? It's been a couple of things or like just a couple of situations that I've been like putting together kind of like.
So when you do performing your art, you channeling the what they call Shakti energy, divine feminine, right? And you're gonna always get spirit messages in anything that's artistic. So like I can actually look at pictures people write and see something entirely different than the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I'll read it like a tarot card where other people look at it, oh, that's a beautiful scenery. I like how the ocean smashed against the rocks or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I'm reading it like a tarot card because it's a projection that came from the subconscious mind and it was guided by the energy of Shakti. Right. So now when I'm looking at it, I'm reading the subconscious mind, Shakti, and it's translating what spirit is saying through this person is this.
Okay.
You know, so each one of your pictures